I had bariatric surgery 4 years ago, and I work with patients every single day who are trying to figure out if they should too, or if they should stay on Ozempic instead. So when I keep seeing headlines saying that GLP-1 medications are replacing surgery, that surgery is outdated, that you can just take a shot and get the same results, well, this is something that we need to talk about, because I have been on the side of this as a patient and I sit on the other side of it as a coach every single week. And this is not a takedown on Ozempic or GLP-1s. They are real tools and the results are real. The comparison that people are making on social media is not accurate. And if you are trying to make a decision about your own body and your own health, well, you deserve a full picture, not just the headlines. So let me walk you through what the data actually says. Before we go into numbers, I want to tell you about where I'm coming from, because I think that does matter. I didn't come into bariatric surgery as a professional at first. I came into it as a patient, someone who had tried and failed more times than most people in the room. Surgery did give me a different starting point, not a magical solution and not a shortcut, a different foundation to build from. And what I found on the other side of that, well, the work and the mindset shift, the rewriting of my relationship with food and my body, that became the reason I do what I do today. So when I sit across from a patient who's been on a GLP-1 for like 6 months, is not seeing what they expected, or lost weight and then stopped the medication and watched it all come back and feel like an absolute failure, I'm not looking at them as a case study. I'm looking at them as someone I deeply understand. And that's the lens I'm trying to bring into this conversation, not to push surgery and not to dismiss medication, but to give you what I wish someone had given me early on, an honest, complete information so you can make the right call for your body and for your life. So let's start with explaining what a GLP-1 medication actually does, because a lot of the confusion in this conversation just starts right there, okay? A GLP-1 receptor agonist, that is the category that includes Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. They work by mimicking a hormone in your body that naturally produces after eating. They suppress the appetite, they slow down how quickly your stomach empties, and signals to your brain that you are full sooner. And they work. I want to be clear about that. For a lot of people, they produce meaningful weight loss and they are real metabolic benefits, improvements in blood sugar, cardiovascular markers, blood pressure. They are not nothing. But here's what most people are not being told clearly enough when they start, is that GLP-1 medications require you to stay on them. That's not a character flaw. It's just not a willpower issue either. It's simply how the medication works. Your body does not change its underlying hormonal set points the way that surgery does. One way to look at this is renting your weight loss versus owning your weight loss. Medication is a rent. It's doing the work, and the most people stop, well, then the appetite comes back and the digestion normalizes, and without new habits and mindset work to hold the results, well, the weight's going to follow. Studies show that patients who discontinue GLP-1 medications regain a significant portion of their lost weight within a year. And some research puts that number as high as 2/3 of the weight loss coming back within 12 months of stopping. Again, not a failure, a reality that deserves to be part of the conversation before someone starts, not after they stop. But then we have to look at the financial aspect of this. Depending on your insurance, you might be paying anywhere from $100 to a couple $100 a month for this medication. Taking the factor 20, 30, 40 years of being on this, something that could be $1,000 to $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 deductible for bariatric surgery. The cost speaks for itself right there. Now, let me show you what the research actually says when you put these two approaches next to each other directly. So in 2025, a landmark head-to-head study was published in JAMA Surgery, one of the most respected surgical journals in the world. And this was not a small study. This was an analysis of over 30,000 patients pulled from a U.S. insurance database. So real people, real outcomes, and 2 years of follow-up. And this is what they found. Patients who had a metabolic bariatric surgery lost on average of 28.3% of their total body weight over 2 years. Patients taking a GLP-1 medication lost on average 10.3%. So it's not a close race. When we look at who was sustaining the loss, meaning who kept at least 10% of their body weight off at the 2-year marker, 96% of surgery patients held that. 45.9% of GLP-1 patients held that. So at 2 years out, surgery patients lost nearly 3 times more weight and were more than twice as likely to keep it off. The same findings were presented in the American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery's annual meeting, where researchers reported that bariatric patients lost nearly 5 times more weight than GLP-1 patients at the 2-year mark. And then there's the cost conversation, which almost nobody's having. The narrative is that surgery is expensive, medication is accessible, but the JAMA study found that bariatric surgery saved an estimate of $11,689 in ongoing medical and prescription costs over just 2 years compared to a GLP-1 treatment, because $500 or more a month indefinitely adds up. And that does not account for what happens when the medication stops working or coverage changes of the prescriptions become unavailable. Surgery is a one-time structural change. A GLP-1 is an ongoing subscription to a result that depends on the subscription continuing. And this is a piece that I think gets lost in social media version of this conversation, that bariatric surgery is not just a restriction. It's not just making your stomach smaller so you eat less. That is the surface level understanding, and it misses what actually happens metabolically. Surgery changes the structure of your digestive system in ways that directly affect your hormones. It alters your gut hormone signaling. It changes how your body responds to food at a biological level. And for many patients, particularly those with type 2 diabetes, the metabolic improvements happen before significant weight loss even occurs. That tells you something important about the mechanism. Now, it also improves cardiovascular risk profiles, total cholesterol, blood pressure at rates that significantly outpace what GLP-1 medications can produce. The JAMA data and additional research presented at ASMBS both support this. And that's not me just saying surgery is easy or without a risk. It's a major procedure, and it deserves to be treated as one. Recovery is real. Lifestyle changes are required after are also real. And the work on the other side, the mindset, the relationship with food, the identity shift, that work does not go away. What surgery gives you is a different foundation, a metabolic reset that holds in a way that medication alone currently cannot replicate. And that data is showing clearly today. I want to be careful here because I don't want this video to land as a blanket argument that everyone should get surgery and nobody should be taking GLP-1s. That is not what I'm trying to say. And it is also not what the data says either. There are people who are not surgical candidates, okay? Medical history, current health status, personal circumstances. Surgery is not a universally appropriate, and it should not be positioned that way. There are people who need GLP-1s as a bridge to lose enough weight to become a great surgical candidate, to manage blood sugar while preparing for a procedure, to reduce surgical risk before going in. There are people for whom the medication works beautifully long-term and who are committed to staying on and have the support system and financial means to do it sustainably. This is not about one being good and one being bad. What I'm saying is that you're making a decision based on what is trending on social media right now. If you're avoiding surgery because a cultural conversation has decided it's outdated, without looking at what the actual research says, well, you might be making a decision based on incomplete information. The patients who carry the most pain around this one are the ones who have tried GLP-1s, lost weight, felt hopeful, and then stopped the medication for whatever reason, watched the weight come back, and internalized that as a personal failure. They're not failures. They're using a tool that requires lifelong use, and that reality was not made clear to them before they started. I want you to have a full picture. Whatever you decide after this is your decision to make. I want to take a second and speak directly to the person watching this who is exhausted. You have tried things. You've had results, and you lost them. You've had moments where it was working and moments where your body felt like it was working against you. And you're sitting here trying to figure out if this is something that will actually hold true this time. And I know that feeling. I've lived that feeling before surgery. And I work with people in that feeling every single day. What I want you to hear is this, that weight coming back after stopping medication is not body betraying you. It's your body doing exactly what bodies were meant to do when a hormonal intervention is removed. That's biology. It's not failure. And surgery for the right person at the right time with the right support around them is not giving up or taking the easy way out. There is no easy way out here. Surgery is a tool and a powerful one. And for many people, it's the foundation and finally makes everything else they have been working towards possible. You deserve information that helps you make the best decision for your body, not information shaped by what's trending. And that's why I'm here. If you're in the process of figuring out which path is right for you, surgery, medication, something in between, I want you to have real information and real support around this decision. The link in the description will take you to what we do inside the intensive program and the Rewrite Lifestyle app. This is where we work with patients directly, not just on the physical side, but on the mindset, the identity, the long-term relationship with your body that makes results actually actually hold. And if this video gave you something, share it with someone who's in this conversation right now. They deserve the full picture too. And I will see you in the next one.